Hey everyone, welcome back to another Beast of the Mesozoic Ceratopsian series review. You getting tired of me saying that yet? Today we're taking a look at the new Einiosaurus. A dinosaur so cool, its original discoverer, Jack Horner, refused to describe it because it wasn't a hadrosaur. He eventually did, but he didn't name it and it took another paleontologist to name this species. This beautiful figure retails for $49.99 and you can order it directly from Creative Beast Studios. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. And if you're outside the US, this figure will be available soon from Everything Dinosaur, and I'll also leave their link in the description also. So let's just move this figure off to the side and take a quick look at the packaging. Comes in the same style packaging we've been seeing since the Raptor series. Got the Beast of the Mesozoic logo all decked out in red foil trim. You got some beautiful artwork of the Einiosaurus on the sleeve. And turn the box to the side, you got the Beast of the Mesozoic logo with the silhouette of the Triceratops. And on the back of the package, you got more of the same artwork with some facts about Einiosaurus. And removing the sleeve reveals the checklist of all the figures available in Wave 2, and just like every figure in the series, you get a nice collector's card with that beautiful artwork, and on the back of the card you got some more facts about Einiosaurus. So enough about the packaging, let's take a look at this beautiful figure that Jack Horner refused to describe. So let's start with a nice 360-degree view of the Einiosaurus. You can see with the 19 points of articulation, you can get these figures in some pretty unique poses. The dog taking a crap pose is a personal favorite of mine. The color scheme is very natural looking. It's probably one of the more natural looking color schemes in this series. I know some of them can be a little too vivid and turn some people off. This color scheme is based off the black spiny tail iguana. The main body is a light gray coloration. You have a hefty dose of black paint along the top and back of the body, and you have some nice rusty gray brown stripes to break up all that black and gray. My favorite part about this figure is the pattern on that large nose horn. I think that is a really cool touch. You have some black paint mixed in with a little bit of blue, and I just think it adds so much character to this awesome looking figure. And let's just do a couple quick measurements. This figure is just about 10.5 inches long from the tip of the beak to the tip of the tail, and just about 4 3/4 inches tall to the top of the spikes and the frill. That height will change depending on how you have the figure posed. So Einiosaurus in real life was about 15 feet long, so with those measurements, that'll put this figure nicely in that 1/18 scale range. So let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure style with this beautiful head sculpt. I know I said a little bit earlier, I love how the nose horn came out in this figure. Just adding a pattern to it just makes it so much more unique and stand out from other Ceratopsian figures. You get some black and blue mixed in on there. And then look at these figures up close, you get a real appreciation of the hand painting that goes on with these figures. Just makes them look so much different than everything else on the market. The eye is painted orange with a black pupil. The beak at the front is a light gray color with some dark dry brushing that add a little bit more definition. You got the nostril sculpted in right there, and the main head is a light gray color with a lot of black mixed in, and you have some rusty brown for the frill pattern. You can see the horns on the top have a nice dry brushing of black to add a little bit more definition. And let's look at the frill from the front, and then opening the mouth up, you can see the inside of the mouth is painted a dark purple color, a nice glossy coat to give that wet look. And if you look really far back in there, can't really see it too much with my lighting in the studio, but the teeth are painted in. The tongue is not articulated. The tongues on the figures in the scale are not articulated, but the larger figures do have articulated tongues. And then moving down to the body, you can see nice black striping mixed in with that rusty brown color. You got a lot of nice beautiful scale detail. Same thing on the back is some large scales going down the midline of the body all the way down to the tip of the tail. We've actually seen this body type quite a few times in the line. A lot of the figures in this size range use the same body type. And then going down to the front legs, you can see more of that striping mixed in with that rusty brown color. And then going down to the feet, this is one of the few figures, actually I think it's the only figure in the series so far that does not have the toenails painted in. Is the same gray coloration as the base plastic on here. And then turn the figure over, you have a nice cream coat for the underside with some large belly scales and orange wash over there to bring out all that scale definition. And going down to the hind legs, you can see more of that black marking. And let's turn the figure from the top. You can see how the black and the rusty brown has some nice striping over the hips, and that continues all the way down almost to the tip of the tail. And then you can see the calves have some nice muscle definition. Same thing with the hind feet. The toe claws are just the same gray plastic as the rest of the figure. So yeah, all in all, I really like the very natural looking color scheme on this figure, especially that nose horn. That is such a cool touch. Now let's move on to articulation. Like I said earlier, this figure has 19 points of articulation. Let's start with the mouth. The mouth can open that far and close pretty flush. Then you have a joint right behind the frill that allows some rotation and side-to-side movement. The neck joint right here can allow the head to look up about that far and down about that much. Now, a lot of figures in the series share the same body, and my experience with the articulation has been different with each figure. Normally on the figure with this body type, this joint would extend a little bit more to get some downward movement, but for some reason it's really, really tight on mine. I highly suggest that you work these figures pretty well to loosen up all the joints. Moving down to the forearms, the legs can move backwards and forwards that far, and you can also get a little bit of outward movement. And then going down to the elbow joint, you get a nice 90-degree bend, some rotation at the wrist, and a little bit of a pivot. Going down to the hind legs, they can move backwards and forwards, and you get just under 90 degrees of bend at the knee joint, and you also get some rotation in there. And then going down to the ankle, you get a little bit forward movement and backwards movement. Hind feet can rotate and pivot a little bit, and then you have this mid cut joint right here, and if you just push it in, you can extend the hip region and have it angled down. And same thing, you can get it to move up a little bit, and you get some nice side to side and twisting movement with that joint. And going down to the tail, like I say in every review, tails come unattached. Just gotta heat them up with some warm water and force them over that ball joint. You can go up, down, side to side, and rotate 360 degrees. So that would do it for articulation. Let's move on to comparisons. Moving on to comparisons, first up here it is with the Mattel Jurassic World Dennis Nedry. And next up we have some Einiosaur figures from other companies. First up is the Safari Limited version, which is an excellent figure. Doug Watson does some fantastic Ceratopsian sculpts. And next up is the Collecte version. All three of these figures are excellent representations of this species. Can't go wrong with any of those. And next up here it is with the Mattel Triceratops. And next up here it is with the Papo Pentaceratops. Next up here it is with the Pianesso Machairoceratops. Fun fact, the species was originally planned for this series. David initially wanted to do 2 separate Kickstarters, but he eventually whittled down the number of species just to do one Kickstarter. There was quite a few species that did not get made, and that's why I'm always saying that this line has a lot of potential to continue past Wave 3. All he needs to do is just do some different head sculpts and throw it on the various different body types, and we can easily get more species. And here it is with the obligatory Pianesso T-Rex comparison. And lastly, here it is with the adult Centrosaurus and the Wendy Ceratops. This gives you a good idea of the 3 different body types available in Wave 2. And don't forget, these figures are getting bigger in Wave 3. So, final thoughts, another great figure from Creative Beast Studios. Like I always say, you can't go wrong owning any one of these figures. All of them are great so far, and I really like the paint scheme on this Einiosaurus. Nice and natural looking, and bonus points for the pattern on the nose horn. That really gives this figure a unique look. And like I said at the beginning of the review, this figure retails for $50. You can order it directly from Creative Beast Studios, or if you're outside the US, order it from Everything Dinosaur. Links to both those places are in the description of this video. So that would do it for the review. Just have a few more figures from this series, and then I'm all done until Wave 3 ships. I think that's due out in September. Still got a few Collecte figures to work on, so be on the lookout for those reviews. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.